Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys down south, I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys in Canada. You know we love you in Africa, the Big C tribe. But there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south, in the land of the free and the home of the brave on the beautiful January 16th, 2019. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Charlton, it is going wonderful. You know, sitting around listening to all the guys talking about who's going to be in the Super Bowl and why they're going to be in the Super Bowl, and all these experts have it all figured out. I'm trying to figure out why the hell we even playing the game this weekend.
Well, let the experts do what the experts do. I still like the people that call in from Las Vegas, and they tend to know what they're doing for the most part. They don't build those skyscrapers by losing money. So much happening in the sports universe. There's a lot of people loving basketball right now. Who's going to be NBA? I think Golden State, when you think about the NBA champion, Golden State still, until you knock them off, they're a lot like the New England Patriots. No matter what the point spread is or what the favorite is, you got to knock off the champion to be the champion. Even though they're not the champion, they're still the champion of the AFC for like 8 years in a row. And then there's just a great deal of things going on in our land of the free and the home of the brave. I do want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you, as well as a host of Cadillac cars. So Big C, I know we're ready and eager to get on to sports, and we're eager to talk about Kyler Murray, Manny Machado. They're talking about lots of money, enough money to start his own bank, Big C. There's everybody out there trying to get money. But I still want to just ask you a question about this government shutdown. I'm seeing there's more and more stuff happening today where people are really starting to feel the after effects of what happens when you don't have money coming in. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I mean, this is something that, you know, your president is enjoying as an individual.
Yeah.
And saying that everybody is backing him. You know, the thing about it, Charlton, he turned down the money to build the wall when the Republicans had control of the House and the Senate, Charlton.
Yeah.
Just to get to this point, this is an intentional act by the president to say that the Democrats are against him.
Yeah.
Because when he had his whole party running all the houses of Congress and Senate, Charlton, they wouldn't pass it.
No.
So he needed an scapegoat to go back to his base and say, well, the Democrats are against me.
Yep.
Not the Republicans, the Democrats. For 2 years, we never heard that.
Yeah.
But, you know, to sit up and hurt innocent Americans, Charlton, and we've resorted to going back to saying this is what slaves dealt with.
Yeah.
But in today's society, Charlton, they've created a new slavery.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're honest about what the president has done, he's committed a new slavery in America.
Yeah.
Saying that you have to go to work. You have no choice to go to work because you are a federal employee. You belong to us.
Yeah.
This is basically what they're saying. You are an indentured servant right now. Your servitude does not deserve any compensation. And he said this could last a year, 2 years.
That's a shame.
He didn't care.
Yeah.
He did not care because his whole point is he wants to satisfy his base on his political promise, on his running for presidency, Charlton.
Yeah. Well,
But he lied about that, Charlton. He said Mexico was going to pay for it. A dime would not come out of one American's pocket, Charlton.
Yep.
And the last I checked, there's a lot of dimes not going into American pockets right now, Charlton.
Yeah, finding dimes. And a lot of times I still meet people that are, in fact, I had an interesting meeting today with some insurance brokers here in Northern California. We're doing business in mortgage and insurance. And this is an older Caucasian gentleman that's Republican. And to sit down and have him talk, Big C, and he was even saying how it's starting to hit his bottom line because it's hitting his customers who also can't pay their bills when they have insurance premiums that are coming up. Because a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, especially when people just came out of Christmas and spent some of that money that they would have to fall back on. Well, that Christmas money is spent already. And that would have been fallback money that a lot of people would have had to spend, and they don't have that now, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they don't have it now, and they're not going to have it in months. You think about what starts this month. Income tax
filing. Yeah. Can't get them.
The IRS is closed down.
Sure are.
The processing centers are closed down. So all those people sitting there saying, yeah, the president's got to hold his ground.
Yep.
And, he's going to get what he wants. He's a great negotiator. He's not negotiating for your income tax return.
No.
Your income tax return already is 1 month late.
Yep.
Think about this. Every day that the government is shut down, that's the day that the income tax cannot be processed.
Yeah.
So right now we're at 22 days, Charlton, the longest shutdown ever.
Yeah.
So your income tax won't be affected. It's going to be affected. So
Wow.
everybody thinking that, he's doing the right thing, as all these government workers are not getting paid, and then America won't be getting paid starting next month.
Yeah.
As far as income tax returns.
Yeah.
Don't stand in line and say, hey, we believe what you're doing.
Wow. I think it's important because I'm talking to guys that have made good money. So even if you make a high 6-figure income and some make 7 figures, you still depend on clients paying their premiums and coming through and making sure that they can keep that money coming through. It's like a lot of people say, no matter what you're going through, God will see you through. You got to pray, but you also need work. You need things to happen in a timely fashion. We hope that happens in the world.
So, think about where are we at right now. We're going to the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
Okay. What if all 4 teams with the players said, we're going to go on strike?
Yeah.
We're not going to play until the government opens up.
Yeah.
Until the president decides to open up the country.
Yeah.
And pay those people. Because, Charlton, a lot of those people now may have been wanting to go to playoff games.
Yeah.
Okay? Playoff games, NBA games, Charlton,
Yeah.
NHL games, college basketball games, college hockey games, Charlton.
Yep.
Think about a lot of these people who participated at sporting events, Charlton, as, patrons of those events.
Yeah.
Now they have to look at it and say, well, I can't afford to go.
Yeah.
That's really going to hurt a lot of people, Charlton, down the line because government workers attend sporting events, Charlton.
Yep.
There are kids now that are not going to be able to go to events because their parents won't have the money, to fund that, Charlton.
Yeah.
You think about the average school children, Charlton, who go on field trips. Field trips are no longer free.
Right.
A parent has to decide, can I let little Johnny and Jenny go to the field trip?
Yep.
Or do we put food on the table?
Yeah.
These are decisions that families are going to have to make. And people say, well, it's for the greater good of this country. You have to ask yourself as an American, has more Americans died in 2018 from disgruntled white males going in shooting up schools that our children go to?
Yep.
That Hispanics or Mexicans, whatever you want to call them, crossing the border into America.
Yeah.
Ask yourself that question. Do we need to protect our schools or do we need to protect our border? Which one is the most vital interest to American citizens?
Yeah.
The president won't tell you that.
Yeah.
That we had more school children shot by disgruntled white males in 2018 than we had Americans shot by Mexicans crossing the border.
And that's very true. It's called it's friendly fire in a sense when it happened in our own country by American-born citizens. So we know that it's important. We hope that more people will realize when it's time to vote people into office that you really pay attention to the background because it's all important. Bixie, I know there's a lot going on in our society. It's raining cats and dogs in California, and I really do mean cats and dogs. I saw some cats and dogs getting caught down the stream, but they were just outside running. They got loose from somebody's yard. You ever have a dog that people put on chains, and that dog get loose? It don't care if it's raining or snow or sunshine. It will run and kind of do its duty on the neighbor's yard. You ever experienced that, Bixie? Your thoughts?
Jonathan, I had some dogs that wanted to frequent my yard, on occasion.
Yeah.
And, I like my neighbors and all of that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to return the favor.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm very generous. Like I said, I like to feed the homeless, Charlton.
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the stray dog was homeless or not that was in my yard.
Yeah.
But I fixed him a little meal. Now, anybody that has a problem, there is a simple remedy if you have a neighbor's dog that wants to come visit your yard.
Yes.
Called X-Lax and hot dogs.
Oh, my goodness. Animal control, be careful, Bixie.
You cut the hot dog. I know Peter's going to be a little upset with this segment,
Yeah.
but you cut the hot dog into bite-sized segments. Dog will swallow. He's not going to sit there and chew it.
Yeah.
They have a tendency to swallow them.
Yeah.
So I take a hot dog and cut it into five little pieces.
Yeah.
5 little X-Lax peels, Charlton.
Oh, my goodness.
Average person, if you take 5 X-Lax you're not going to have a comfortable sit around in your house. Okay?
Well, that's why. That explains a lot, Big C. That's called Southern justice. Now, PETA will get mad if you feed a dog, but they won't get mad if you starve a dog, because you don't make any sense, but it's all fair in love and war. I just think that there's so much in our society to be, joyful about, with that 2019 starting off so great for so many people. Still want to say, for all my religious friends and the clergy out there doing fasting up until the 21st of this month. Everybody has their own reason for it. It's a religious thing. It's a way of cleansing your system. Also having more spiritual things that happen. But it's also, everybody has their own belief. But I want to get your thoughts on something, Big C, as we talk about beliefs. And now, this is a shame because I don't really know a lot about it. I just heard it as I was reading some blogs. And Enes Kanter, he's an NBA basketball player. Now, we know about detente and what happened with the UCLA and Georgia Tech when those guys from UCLA went over in that tournament. I believe it was in China, and they took some things that they didn't pay for. POTUS knows what I mean. You would take things you don't pay for, and they got into some trouble. But I hear that there's been some type of allegedly an arrest for Kanter. That would be a scary feeling as an NBA player. You get all the money you ever need, and they're asking you to come back to Turkey. Why go to Turkey? I don't think they can force them out of this country. And this is true for any player that has money and travels. You can always be accused of anything. But if you got tens of millions of dollars, just lawyer up and don't let them extradite you back to some country. That's just my opinion. Because I want to get your thoughts, because it's a real deal.
Well, Charleston, I mean, when you travel, you always have to understand international law.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been many situations of Americans locked up abroad because you think that you can do the things in a foreign country that you can get away with in this country.
Yeah.
Because of your notoriety.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a criminal act is a criminal act anywhere in the world, Charleston.
Yeah.
But these athletes, a lot of time with money, you think that you're privileged.
Yeah.
That you can get away with things. You can buy your way out of things, Charleston.
Yeah.
But, when you're looking at something like that, it's not as heinous as some of the acts that you hear about, Charleston.
Yeah.
You think about, there was a Hall of Fame pitcher arrested yesterday in Texas.
Oh, really?
Former MVP. His name John Westerman.
Okay.
This man was accused of sexually assaulting a 4-year-old, Charleston.
Oh, wow.
This is a former Major League pitcher who pitched with the Dodgers, who pitched with the Yankees, pitched with the Texas Rangers, Charleston.
Wow.
He was arrested for sexual abuse of a 4-year-old child. Now, this is a white male, Charleston.
Yeah.
We never hear that a lot about these people
Right.
that do this. We hear about Bill Cosby. We hear about R. Kelly. But this is a Major League pitcher, former Major League pitcher, Charleston. Sexual assault on a 4-year-old, Charleston.
That's horrible.
This is not somebody who can make a decision at any point in life, Charleston. They have a hard time wanting to know which juice box to drink, okay?
Yeah.
This is a criminal. This is an animal, Charleston, when you're assaulting children. And we talked about a couple of weeks ago, Charleston, about the young lady in Tennessee that the judge gave clemency to that had been locked up for 16 years, Charleston, for killing her sexual abuser.
Yeah.
And the DA went after her because she was minority. John Westerland, represents the professional sports world, Charleston.
Yeah.
We've seen what happened to Kareem Hunt just a couple of weeks ago, Charleston.
Yeah.
A couple of months ago, released by the Kansas City Chiefs for assaulting a woman. This is a man, Charleston, that victimized a child.
Wow.
There's no empathy for him on any level in life, Charleston.
No.
And people will come out to his defense and say, well, we don't know all the facts. Yes, you do know the facts. If somebody's been arrested for molesting a 4-year-old, Charleston, that 4-year-old told, okay, what happened.
Yeah.
Children are honest.
Yeah.
Children don't know how to lie until you teach them how to lie.
Yeah.
But there had to be evidence of this animal. We dealt with this with Larry Nassar at Michigan State, Charleston.
Yeah.
Assaulting dozens and dozens of young ladies over the years, Charleston. And people stood behind him.
Yeah.
You cannot stand behind these animals, sex molesters, Charleston. I don't care about him being an athlete, former athlete. He's still an animal and a criminal, Charleston.
Yeah, and I think when we think about it in the sports realm, it happens so much in the mainstream, and it's always covered up, Big C. And I think, leading back to what you're saying, it's a horrible crime that just happened. But Michigan State, when we think about sports and how it's just real life, Michigan State interim president John Ziegler is resigning after saying that some of the abuse survivors from Larry Nassar's case, he was enjoying the spotlight. I mean, what a horrible thing to say. And it's just about the Me Too movement. We're among many people and many stations and many sports programs that will talk about that. I just want to get your thoughts on how insensitive. How did he get through the hiring and background process, Big C? Your thoughts?
Charlton, how ignorant and asinine of a white male to go out there and say that the white women that they abused are enjoying
the spotlight,
that they were abused.
Yeah.
That they're gloating in it. And he's saying they should just shut up and go away.
Wow.
That's basically what he's saying. He's saying they should shut up and go away. Okay, they got his buddy convicted for life, as a sex offender.
Yeah.
Should have got the death penalty, Charlton.
Yeah.
And you should have gotten it. But Ziegler should have got it also, Charlton, saying these types of statements. Think about this. This is only accepted by white males to make this type of statement, Charlton. That you can go out and say, well, these abusers, no one should care about them. Okay, why should they enjoy it? They're not enjoying the spotlight, Charlton. What they're doing is bringing consistent awareness to the young ladies in our society that when something like this happens to you, or you feel that it's happened to somebody that you know, tell somebody.
Yeah.
People will believe you now.
Well, I think
white males are scared, Charlton. You saw what just happened to Westbrook, former Major League MVP pitcher.
Yeah.
He's going to jail for a long time for molesting a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Now think about what this interim president of Michigan State just said.
John Ziegler.
He just said this 4-year-old shouldn't have told on this guy. Think about this. He's saying this baby should not have told on her sexual molester because look at what happened to Nassar. Look at what happened to other prominent white males because women are now standing up against them.
Yep.
They've accepted it all in the past. Why is it so important now? I love Gillette Razor, Charlton.
Yeah.
They just put out a new commercial, an advocate for the Me Too movement. There's nobody using a razor in the movie, but they're calling to attention the behavior of white males in America, how it's been accepted in society, how they've been able to abuse people.
Yeah.
And get away with it, Charlton.
Well, I think they're...
abuse females. And so now there was such a backlash, Charlton, from white males in social media about this ad saying that they're being targeted.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're being exposed. There's a difference between being targeted and a difference between being exposed. You're being exposed.
And that's interesting when you think about all the issues that happen in civil rights movement, where a lot of people just had their lives wiped out, and oftentimes talking to some older black gentlemen, we talked about Congressman John Lewis and how his family, his parents were sharecroppers growing up, and how now he went to law school and he's a congressman. And there's a lot of times when people had things done against them with impunity. There was no crime to pay. I still think a lot of it is a dog whistle when you look at POTUS talking about grabbing women by private parts, and we're getting a little bit of feedback on our line, so I know POTUS is typing in. But the real deal is you never atone for that grabbing women by their private parts remark. And when people tend to get away with that garbage, when the women come forward, they say the women are lying. But there's never talk about building a wall around those men and the men who meet that profile, but will spend a long time trying to say build a wall against people who are not at the same rate committing those type of crimes. I think we should always bring that to attention, because if we don't bring it to attention, then oftentimes people won't bring it to attention, Big C. I want to step on something in the world of sports real quick, and we're working with some feedback, so I apologize for that for the Big C Sports line. But NBC Sports, Bob Costas, they reached a mutual parting of the ways. He signed a contract, I think, back in 1980 with NBC, and I think it was $100,000, and that was a lot of money back then. Now it's like $1 million is nothing, but $100,000 is even peanuts compared to then. But he's been the staple of NBC Sports for years now. Some people don't like Bob Costas. They think he's smug, like he's too erudite and sports is beneath me, but they pay me so I talk about it. He didn't have the passion that a Howard Cosell spoke with. But everybody's different. If you get certain perks and benefits, you just be who you are. But give me the thoughts on why they want to walk away from someone who could be really their Statue of Liberty for a broadcast for that network. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, the reason for this part your ways and the mutual agreement, Charlton, to leave NBC Sports in that light, Charlton, is that Bob Costas had started becoming political.
Yeah.
He no longer wanted to be that sacred cover-up for the network, Charlton.
Yeah.
You know, Bob Costas last year's Super Bowl, Charlton, he was supposed to host a halftime event.
Yeah.
Bob Costas chose not to do that, Charlton, because of all the issues in the NFL, the Colin Kaepernick, the concussion protocol, Charlton. Bob Costas was open about those things.
Yeah.
The network felt that they should shun that on a broadcast, Charlton.
Wow.
Bob Costas wasn't feeling that. When you think about Bob Costas, he's like an encyclopedia of sports, Charlton. If you've ever had a chance to sit down with Bob, if you bring up a subject, Bob will go there with you.
Yeah.
There's nothing about the game of sports, Charlton, that he doesn't understand, whether it's golf, football, basketball, baseball, the Olympics. I mean, he's done 11 Olympics when you think about Bob Costas. But his total passion is baseball, Charlton.
Yeah.
You know, I would say behind the former Dodger broadcaster,
Vince Scully.
Vince Scully.
Yeah.
I would say Bob Costas was second on the list as far as baseball knowledge, Charlton.
Yeah.
He knows everything about baseball. And that's what he wants to go do now, Charlton, just concentrate on doing baseball. And so he'll most likely end up with the MLB network.
Yeah.
But you think about his career with NBC. This is a guy that's made over $100 million in broadcasting, Charlton.
Yeah.
And as you indicated, his first big contract was in 1980.
Yeah.
$100,000.
Peanuts.
That lets people know where the money has gone in sports on both sides, on the playing field and in the broadcast booth.
Yeah.
The game is really excessive financially now versus what it was back when I was a player, Charlton.
Yeah. Well,
but, you know, Bob Costas is one of the last great gurus of knowledge when it comes to professional sports and broadcasting. I mean, NBC has brought in a lot of people like Mike Tirico and a few others. We know that Al Michaels has been there, and he's a staple. But when Al Michaels decided to hang it up, Charlton, where will NBC be?
Yep, especially when they have, and this is what I think too, and even with Al Michaels and Bob Costas, these are some erudite men. And I think when you really think about what's real, the universe really misses out when they can't be real. If they can't be real, then they're just talking heads, and that's a shame. It's like having one of those 400 horsepower cars, no matter who, or 500 horsepower now, no matter who makes it, and you put the governor on it, so it really only accesses 200 horsepower. I miss the days of a Howard Cosell and how he would have that banter back and forth with the great Muhammad Ali. I think a lot of us, why do we still remember those things? We remember it because they were not dumb guys. The average guy now, you got to be a former sports athlete, and you got to play dumb, or maybe they are dumb. They're not well read. They're just guys that and ah, you know, their way through a broadcast because people think they like their face. But once you get rid of the staples of the industry, the ever are moral award winners, guys like you said that can go anywhere. I think it's a shame that our society and the broadcast owners, they feel that we only want to cater to dumb Americans. Or to the dumbest of Americans. I think we all have colleges for a reason. I don't put down anyone who hasn't gone. I say it makes you more erudite, it makes you more well-read. There used to be a time when in order to be in broadcast, you have to have some type of journalism degree. Now you just have to be a guy that can, you know, and I hate that garbage. I hate to see guys like Bob Costas go, and when you said that the day that Al Michaels hangs it up, it'll be a chilling loss in the broadcast industry. I hope he goes on forever, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, we've lost so many great broadcasters of late, Charlton, that have decided to hang up the mic and you know, settle back in that recliner.
Yeah.
But we've learned so much over the decades from these individuals, Charlton. A lot of us have grown up with them, watching them, listening to them broadcast our games and stuff. But, you know, they've educated America, Charlton. They've kept us intact.
Yeah.
They kept us part of the event.
Yeah.
That's the greatest tool when you think about it. You know, when we talked about Al Michaels, his greatest line, do you believe in miracles? That Lake Placid in 1980.
Yeah.
And you think about Bob Costas, some of the great events. I mean, whether it's golf, basketball, football, baseball, Charlton, hockey.
Yeah.
He's called them all, the 11 Olympics.
Yeah.
We know Bob Costas is part of our family. Because when we turn on sporting events, Charlton, he's been such a staple over the decades.
Yeah, and I remember when I met Howard Cosell, I was a young boy. I never realized how shy he was, but very well educated. And I miss those days of men that they could talk about something other than, man, how big and fast this guy is, and can you believe how high this guy can jump. We've really gone away from having the intelligent broadcasters. It's a lot like talking to you, Big C. Imagine what the world would lose. In fact, imagine what the universe would lose if you only came on here and spit out scores. The Yankees 7, the Red Sox 5, or the Giants 14, the Jets 10, the 49ers 28, and the Cowboys 10. That's what I see it going to. And I hate that because someone has told some of these owners of the broadcast networks, don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion, don't talk about entertainment, just stick to the dumbest of our audience. And you have nothing to gain by that. And just to prove that point, you just mentioned that too. When you don't have guys like Howard Cosell, if you don't have a guy like let's just say, if you look at, if he steps, Bob Costa's going to step down, but he's still going to be involved in something. But even I want to pick up Big C also, because you are a guy that doesn't play dumb to get a job. And I hate the fact that our industry, we're part of this broadcast industry too. We're all mavens to some extent, but even as a maven, you still can tell people something they can go Google. I think those days are gone because we're having the dumbest of the dumbest guys to be on a sports show, and all they do is talk about the dumbest. They try to reach the dumbest audience, and I think people appreciate some intelligence. I'm not saying to be hubristic. I'm not saying that we're any better than anybody else. I'm just saying that those days of having those type of iconic sportscasters, it's like they're dying off for the dumbest of the dumbest. And I'm not insulting anybody who's dumb, but you know who you are, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I look at CBS Sports last year in college football when they lost Vern Lundquist.
Yeah.
When he decided to retire, Charlton, he was the voice of the SEC on CBS.
Yeah.
Just a great aficionado and voice about the game. And now NBC is losing Bob Costas.
Yeah.
And what you say is so correct, Charlton. You're bringing in people now, Charlton, that have a certain look.
Yeah.
That dress a certain way.
Yeah.
I guess if you have wrinkles on your face, that's not appealing to the television audience. But the last time that I checked, Charlton, the television audience is tuning in for the event that you have on.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They're not tuning in to see how many Botox shots you got. Okay? They're not doing that.
Leave the Kardashian family alone.
A Brooks Brothers suit.
Yeah.
They're not doing that.
Yeah.
They want that person with that brain and that knowledge about the event that they're broadcasting, Chucky.
Yeah.
That's what I tune into an event for.
Yeah. No.
And some of the greatest sports broadcasters, Charlton, when you talk about Vince Scully with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
You saw Vince Scully on radio.
Yeah.
You didn't see him on television.
Yeah.
You saw him on radio.
Painted the picture.
You can lean back in your recliner, Charlton, and feel that you were at Dodger Stadium in Chavez Ravine.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with Bob Costas, Charlton, when you're watching a game.
Yeah.
If you're watching an NBA game, Charlton, if you could put something in front of the screen and Bob Costas made you feel like you were at the game.
Yeah. No.
At a baseball game, he's like Vince Scully, Charlton. But the guys now are so busy talking about themselves during a sporting event, Charlton, that they lose context of what people tuned in for.
Yeah. No, I think that's very true. And when we talk about history, Big C, you think about guys in the NFL like a Don Shula, and you think about a Dan Reeves, a Mike Holmgren, Bill Parcells, Dick Vermeil, John Fox. They're an elite coaches group, but I even want to go to the college ranks and bring somebody in, Eddie Robinson, because that Grambling coach, and you can Google this, anywhere in the universe, you can Google it. Eddie Robinson, down there in part of that SWAC, in that Southern Conference, those Southern football players, as a head coach, he might be the most hidden jewel in American sports iconic figures, because he sent more players to the NFL, to pro football, NFL in Canada, than any head coach in the history of football in the United States. He's a black man. And even though he wasn't a professional coach, a lot of those coaches that I just talked about, they coached some of his players. So when we talk about Nick Saban, is he the best coach out there, or was it Paul Bear Bryant, or was it whoever it was, even at the NFL level? For every coach at the NFL, they know those top college coaches. And I can guarantee you, He may not get the credit, but Eddie Robinson, I challenge anyone to find any coach in this country that sent more players on to professional football than Eddie Robinson. But Big C, give me your thoughts on those coaches.
When you talk about those coaches you just named, Charlton, those 6 coaches, they're in a unique fraternity, Charlton.
Yeah.
All of those coaches, Charlton, have coached at least 2 separate franchises to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, that's in a very elite group, Charlton. And when you think about that, Andy Reid, if he wins this weekend against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots with the Kansas City Chiefs, Charlton, he will join that group.
Yeah.
He took the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl versus the Patriots.
Yeah.
Now he needs to beat the Patriots, Charlton, to join that elite group of 6 to make it 7.
Yeah. Well, when you think about that, I know there are people that say, is Andy Reid on some type of hot seat? He might be on a hot seat because it's going to be freezing in Kansas City, but if he is in trouble, it's just like you think about the gentleman for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Tomlin. If these guys are in trouble for winning, then what does that say about coaches who never win? I just think it's something that we gotta honor our national treasures. National treasures are people that rise to the top of the industry and they tell the truth. But I still wonder, as much as we talk about college coaches that have gone on to coach in the pros, whether it's a Nick Saban who did it, and there's many others who coached in college and went on to the pros. We look at Kingsbury, who was fired at Texas Tech, got on with USC, now he's going to be coaching Arizona Cardinals. Could you imagine how many opportunities? And maybe people guys say, well, he didn't want to do it, but I doubt it. How many times was Eddie Robinson, as the coach that sent more players in the history of football on to play pro football? How many times was he passed up because he is a beautiful African-American man? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I don't think Eddie was ever offered the opportunity to coach in the NFL because if you look at the climate and the time, during his coaching tenure, Charlton, there had never been an African-American coach in the NFL.
I know.
No one was willing to cross that barrier, Charlton. You think the late Al Davis was the only one willing to go to that level, Charlton, by hiring a former player in Art Shell.
Yeah.
Making him the first African-American head coach, Charlton. But even after Art, look how long it took to get another coach, and that was Tony Dungy, Charlton.
Yeah.
So that road has been slow
in
accessing, Charlton, as far as African-American coaches in the NFL. They have the ability.
Yeah.
But it comes down to saying, okay, we want the guy that looks like us.
Yeah.
It's like right now in the coaching tree of the NFL. Everybody's saying, well, we're looking for the next Sean Payton.
Yeah.
That's what everybody's saying for. You know, but, Charlton, everybody can call a play in football. It's about the execution. You know, it's the Jimmies and the Joes, as they say.
Yeah.
You know, do you have the players? You know, people, elaborate on the Rams.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have Jared Goff on the team that you're going to hire that assistant for? Do you have Todd Gurley?
Yeah.
Do you have Cooper Kupp, Robert Wood? Do you have Aaron Donald?
Yeah.
Do you have this group of players that are going to come along with the coach, Charlton?
Yeah.
This is the thing that everybody tends to forget. You can go out, whether it's on the college level or the professional level, and hire the next great hotshot coordinator.
Yeah.
Okay? When Shanahan went to San Francisco, did Matt Ryan and Julio Jones go with him?
No,
the 49ers?
No, they didn't go with him at all.
He's been there, Charlton, 2 years.
Yeah.
He hasn't won 10 games in 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay? So who went with him from San Francisco? Matt Patricia. How many Super Bowls did he go to with the New England Patriots? You know, the Detroit Lions won 6 games last year.
Yeah.
That's 3 games less than the coach that they fired said he couldn't get the team over the hump.
Yep, that's true.
I mean, so when you look around, Charlton, the league, and you keep hiring these coaches that look like you, they can't get the job done, Charlton. They're not bringing the players from the team that they were just leaving.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what nobody has figured out in the hiring process. You're not going to go out and get those players in the next 2 drafts, Charlton.
Yep.
So when you say, like John Elway, I made a mistake in hiring Vance Joseph, think about what John Elway has done since he's been the GM and director of player personnel with the Denver Broncos. Let me give you a short synopsis.
Yeah.
Since he's made a mistake in hiring a black coach, he drafted Tim Tebow.
Yep.
Where's Tim Tebow now?
TV.
Out of the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay? He drafted Trevor Siemian. No one even knows what Trevor Siemian is.
No.
He drafted Texan Lynch.
Yep.
He was crying on the sideline. He's out of the NFL, Charlie.
Yep.
He drafted Chad Kelly.
Yeah.
Chad Kelly got cut for drunk, coming up in somebody's house, Charlie.
Yep.
Taking in somebody's house.
Yep. Yep.
So when John Elway said he made a mistake by hiring Vance Joseph, a black coach, John Elway, look in the mirror.
Yeah.
You're the only fool in Denver. You're the one drafting these quarterbacks that can't play, and you want to blame the black coach.
And remember Brock Osweiler, that I guess he brought him in to be the heir apparent.
He drafted Brock Osweiler also, so he drafted 5 quarterbacks, Chuck.
Yeah.
5 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
None of them in Denver. Think about that. John Elway, this quarterback, all-time great, Hall of Famer, stole an MVP in the Super Bowl from Terrell Davis.
Yep.
Has drafted 5 quarterbacks. None of them are in Denver.
None of them. And going back to that Super Bowl 33 down in San Diego, that says it's not good enough to host an NFL team now, but they hosted a couple of Super Bowls. Davis had over 200 yards rushing in 3 quarters, had a migraine. And then they give the Super Bowl MVP to John Elway. It's a lot like the great white privilege thing that goes on in this country that nobody talks about, but Big C Sports. You have no experience in Elway in running a team. None. And he wrote the coattails of Peyton Manning. But once Peyton retired, and they really won that Super Bowl because of defense, not because of Peyton Manning. He had a horrible game. It was Von Miller that helped win that Super Bowl with the turnovers that they caused against the Carolina Panthers offense. But again, we know if you hold Elway under the same scrutiny as you say hold a Reggie McKenzie, Reggie McKenzie is out of a work. And all he did was take Green Bay and the Raiders to the playoffs and won a Super Bowl with Green Bay. And he doesn't get any credit for it. In fact, who's that guy, Davis, and your friend Gruden? They told him that he's not doing a good enough job. He had too many good players that are still making playoffs with other teams. That's how good a job McKenzie did, bringing in players that were good enough to help the Raiders and the Packers get to the playoffs, win the Super Bowl, and he still can't find work in this NFL that we love, the National Football League. No, I think you tell the truth about John Elway, and as more people realize it, when you hold John Elway to the fire for what he's done, you'll realize how much that he hasn't been that success. But I know we've mentioned Elway, but let's look at a few other quarterbacks, too, that are not in the GM position. Steve Young, he does a great job on television as an analyst. He was one of the greatest quarterbacks ever out of BYU. And, he went to the USFL and played there for the LA Express. And you have Randall Cunningham, who I think was one of the most dominant quarterbacks in the NFL, but his light shined too bright, and they would not let him play after he set the record for the NFL. You had Fran Tarkenton, Joe Theismann. How would they fare today as a run-play option quarterback in this league? Remember, we're told that they can't really make it, but now they're starting to lean that way. How would those players make it, Big C? Your thoughts?
Oh, well, Charlton, you think about that group of players that you just named, Charlton. Those are players who didn't play in those shotgun offenses during their era.
Yeah.
These are all quarterbacks that were up under the center. You think about how threatening they would be.
Yeah.
Steve Young was as athletic as any quarterback that has ever played in the NFL, Charlton. Nobody said he should be a receiver or a defensive back or a running back.
No.
You think about Bill Walsh.
Yeah.
Made him an all-pro quarterback, Charlton. But if he had been in the era where he could not have been hit,
yeah,
along with Joe Theismann, along with Randall Cunningham, along with Fran Tarkenton,
yeah,
think about how much more success they would have had in their career.
Yeah.
And we're talking about 3 of those 4, Charlton, are Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You think about Fran Tarkenton, when he retired in 1978, Charlton, he was pro football's all-time leader in touchdown passes and yards.
Yeah.
He held all the records. Fran Tarkenton is no taller than Drew Brees. And so when people say that Kyler Murray could not play, Joe Theismann was only 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Fran Tarkenton was 5'10".
Yeah.
Okay? They said he was 6 feet, he's 5'10".
Mm-hmm.
Randall Cunningham was the tallest of the group. Steve Young was probably even more athletic than Randall Cunningham.
Yeah.
So when you talk about bringing those guys into this era, how great would they be today? Steve Young, I think he can still play right now.
Yeah, he's been probably the best.
He's in tremendous shape.
Yeah.
But when you saw him out running, as well as Randall Cunningham, He did a Gumby move one time against the New York Giants, Charlton, where his body went every way until he got into the end zone.
It fell into the end zone. I want to say that. Yeah, that's true.
So when we talk about guys who can't make it, and there's so much talk right now about Kyler Murray, people talking about their intrigue.
Yeah.
All you had to do was listen to Cliff Kingsbury when he got the job with the Arizona Cardinals. He said, if I had the number one pick, I'm taking the guy. And I'm still believing that, Charlton, that Kyler Murray is the best opportunity for the Arizona Cardinals to turn around their franchise, Charlton.
Yeah.
This diminutive young player, like I said, he's a Doug Flutie on steroids.
Yeah.
And Derek Flutie could play in any league. He did it in the United States here in the NFL.
Yep.
He did it in Canada. Kyler Murray, because you cannot hit a quarterback anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and that takes us to this point.
Yeah.
Everybody used to say that defenses won championships. You realize none of the top defensive teams are playing this weekend, Charlton?
Isn't that something?
In the championship round?
Yeah.
None of the top defensive teams are playing this week in the championship round. We got the top 4 ranked offenses, Charlton, playing this week. Yeah. So it's all about offense. And the rules that the NFL enacted, Charlton, last offseason about protecting the quarterback. Remember in the preseason and the first couple of games of the season?
Yeah.
How everybody was crying about the penalties?
Yep.
That, you know, it was unfair to the defensive players?
Yeah.
They made adjustments, Charlton. They laid off of those quarterbacks.
Yeah, sure did.
And what happened?
It worked.
We had one of the most electrifying offensive, seasons in NFL history, Charlton, for the league.
Yep. And you have teams right now that are heading for the chance to play in the Super Bowl that are the highest scored in the league. I want to say sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. For every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Benmark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer league, when you reach out to them, tell them Big C sent you. Would you believe the Green Bay Packers have the largest replica of the Lombardi Super Bowl trophy in the atrium, the museum at Lambeau Field? It's amazing that Lambeau Field is such a historic landmark that they will never, ever think about tearing it down. It will probably outlast the Roman Coliseum no matter how much new design and stadium design comes in place. Just imagine that whole stadium, and then they have the largest replica of the trophy. Big, so your thoughts?
Well, when you think about it, the trophy is named after famous coach Vince Lombardi, Charlton. And what they have is a 50-foot chrome statue of the Super Bowl trophy, of the Lombardi trophy in the atrium of that stadium, which is a beautiful museum, Charlton. I don't know if you've ever been to Lambeau, but it is a beautiful must-see. When you go to the Green Bay, you have to go to Lambeau Field just for the tour. And they have daily tours of Lambeau. That's how iconic this place is, Charlton.
Yeah.
But when you think about a display having a 50-foot tall chrome statue of the Super Bowl trophy, Charlton, you talk about paying respect and having a monument at a stadium, Charlton. It's there in Green Bay.
It's there in Green Bay, and really, just meeting people that are from the Wisconsin area that grew up there, and even though lived in Green Bay, they became Bears fans. I didn't understand how that happened, but I understand you have a right to love who you want to love. And when you think about that trophy, Big C, today, without the finals being determined yet, the Super Bowl tickets are expected to go for a minimum of $2,100 each. $2,100 each for a Super Bowl ticket. And I know that there were people saying, because of Colin Kaepernick asking for liberty and justice for all, that the ratings were going to go down. Could you imagine anywhere in the universe? Why would you not want liberty and justice for all? And when a man tried to bring that to the attention and have the NFL address it as a platform, since it employs about 75% of the athletes look like him and Colin Kaepernick, people were saying they're not going to watch football anymore. They're going to turn away from the NFL. But didn't we tell you that let all the dumb people turn away, the smart people will still watch? $2,100 for one ticket. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I guess all those ravaging people out there saying that they're no longer going to watch NFL because the black players are protesting and stuff and disrespecting the flag and disrespecting the military. You have to think about this, Charlton. A year ago, the game was played in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yeah.
You could get a Super Bowl ticket for $750.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
$750.
Yep.
The ticket price has tripled in 1 year from all those people saying that they no longer would watch the NFL.
Yep.
Okay? That they didn't care about it. They didn't want to watch those black guys. And the president said, you know, they should kick him out of the country and fire
the SOBs.
You know?
Yep.
It's how do you kick a guy out of his own country?
Yeah.
This is what I don't understand. but fire the SOBs.
Yeah.
Those SOBs now, Charlton, have people paying a minimum of $2,100 to watch them.
Yeah.
For 3 hours.
And I think that's
having fun.
And I think
about that.
Yeah.
So this is Protus who lied and said he bought 1,000 hamburgers the other day.
Yeah.
Okay. He only bought 300.
Yeah. That's funny, Big C.
And he was too cheap to have it catered by his own hotel and restaurants right down the street.
Yeah.
That's how cheap he was. He'd rather go buy fast food instead of having it catered by his hotel because he said it would have cost him money.
Big C, how many hamburgers and french fries could you have bought with $2,100 from a league where POTUS told them to fire 70% of the product, Big C? How many hamburgers and french fries could you have bought? $2,100. Quite a bit, I take it, Big C. But just thinking about that stadium in Atlanta, it's a gorgeous stadium. But 21 years ago, 1998, the Atlanta Falcons made their first appearance in the Super Bowl after beating the Minnesota Vikings. I remember that great game played up in Minneapolis. I believe it was Morton Anderson who missed that field goal. Who only missed
Gary
it was Gary Anderson.
Morton Anderson made the field goal.
So Gary Anderson missed the field goal. Morton made it. But when you think about that, that was one of the better Viking teams ever. And it reminds me of how close it comes down to just one kick. We saw that one kick thing in Chicago. We've seen it throughout the league where one kick can decide it. But this year, that team, that city is hosting another Super Bowl. Give me your thoughts on Atlanta and how that is probably the most beautiful stadium in the United States of America. I think the one coming up in L.A. may challenge it, Big C, but it's not as large as Jerry Jones World, but it's probably a more beautiful stadium, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I'm going to go back to the thought of what you just said about the kick that was missed by Gary Anderson 21 years ago, Charlton.
Yeah.
And the reaction of the fans in Minnesota. There was no public outcry about cutting the guy or killing the guy or whatever, Charlton, as you saw with Parkey in Chicago.
Yeah.
So when you think about the character of certain fans, Charlton, in certain cities, the classness of the fans in Chicago going to that level of threatening a young man's life, Charlton, just like they did with Steve Bartman. Gary Anderson played for the best team in football that year. Chicago was not the best team in football this year, Charlton. They set all the NFL scoring records that season. And a kick that was missed by a kicker, Charlton, that had not missed a field goal all year long. He hit 28 consecutive field goals that season prior to missing that one against the Atlanta Falcons. But when you move that to the day, Charlton, 21 years later, and you talk about that beautiful facility, Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta, and going to have an outstanding Super Bowl, Charlton. When you look at the two championship games coming up this week, Charlton, never before has the opponents met in a championship game that met in a regular season game that scored as many points as these games did, Charlton. Both of these teams, Charlton, in their previous meeting combined for over 80 points each.
Wow.
You know, just electrifying performances, Charlton. When the Chiefs played the Patriots, it was 83 points in that game. When the Saints played the Rams, it was a 81-point game, Charlton. So when you think about offense, and everyone says defense wins championships, Charlton, you know what's ironic about that, Charlton?
What's that?
Defense is going to have to show up in this game. Whoever has the best defensive line in these two games, Charlton, is going to make a difference. We're going to see some outstanding play by quarterback, Charlton. But it's going to be, if you go back to the Super Bowl last year, Charlton, the highest scoring Super Bowl all time, the Eagles and the Patriots. These teams were up and down the field. I believe it was one punt in that Super Bowl last year. But the play of the game, Charlton, was a strip sack by the Eagles at the end of the game, Charlton. That was the play of the game. A defensive player made the play of the game. All type of offensive records were set. But a defensive player made the most critical play in the game, Charlton.
Well, when you think about defense back in the days where defense wins championships, and I'm glad we're at the point where I know what the NFL does to manufacture interest. People like in baseball, they like the home run. They just want to see the home run more than a guy who gets on base. In the NBA, people love the three-point shot.
Unless you're watching Ricky Henderson or Lou Brock.
Unless you're watching them.
I want to see them get on base
those guys were anomalies.
They made theft legal in America.
That's true. You can steal all you want, Big C. But when you think about it, people love that. And in football, they love to see the deep pass. I think about Kenny the Snake Stabler throwing deep to Cliff Branch. And deep for Stabler was about 50 yards, and Kenny would run the rest. Now deep, you got guys like Mahomes that can throw the ball 65 yards downfield, and people really love that. But I just want to touch base on the city of Atlanta just for their forward-thinking progress. Unlike when you look at what happens in Green Bay with Lambeau Field, and they want to keep it there forever, even the LA Coliseum being there forever. 1997, it was the last year that the Atlanta Falcons played in Fulton County Stadium. And then they moved to the new Georgia Dome, that new state-of-the-art stadium down in Atlanta. Well, now last year they moved to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So they've had 3 home stadiums, Big C, in 21 seasons in Atlanta. That means there's a lot of progress, or there's a lot of things going on where money is just flowing in, and Arthur Blank has enough money. He trades in stadiums like people trade in cars. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Arthur's been an innovator, Charlton. This is the man who created Home Depot.
Yep.
So he has this foresight, a vision, Charlton, of what things should be.
Yeah.
And when you think about Atlanta being a progressive city, look at all of what Atlanta has done, Charlton, in the last 25 years. This is a city that has hosted an
Olympics, yeah.
They're getting ready to host their second Super Bowl, Charlton. They've hosted World Series. They've built multiple stadiums. You talked about the Georgia Dome that they had, Charlton, prior to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yep.
They had the Olympic Stadium that turned into Turner Field. Now they have a new baseball stadium with the Braves, Charlton.
Yeah.
So this is a progressive city when you're thinking about Atlanta, and we look around America. Look how difficult it was to build a stadium in Los Angeles, Charlton.
Yeah.
They lost 3 professional football teams
over that time.
Over a stadium.
Yep.
You think about this. The Chargers went to San Diego because San Diego built them a stadium.
Yeah.
The Rams left the Coliseum, moved to Anaheim, then on to St. Louis, Charlton.
Yeah.
Prior to coming back with the promise of the stadium being built.
Yeah.
The Raiders came to Los Angeles thinking that the Coliseum would be renovated.
Yeah.
Never was. They went back to Oakland.
Yeah.
So when you think about a city that has not been able to hold on to something, and one of the sports meccas of the United States, Los Angeles, with all the universities and professional teams, Charlton.
Hollywood.
But Atlanta has exceeded growth, professionally, more than what you could say about Los Angeles.
And it really is the diaspora in the South where Black Americans have prospered Atlanta, the city of Atlanta. So oftentimes when people say, well, we don't want to vote for the black politician outside of, say, a President Barack Obama or someone every now and then that comes along and people, Elijah Cummings, they give you the opportunity. That's a progressive city for African Americans, and I hope the NFL would take note of that because there's a lack of African American coaches, but they're going to a city to host a Super Bowl, America's shiniest game, in a city that's primarily built by African Americans that welcomes in opportunity. I think that's a sea change in thinking. I hope Goodell will really plug into the infrastructure of Atlanta and see how diverse it is. That's what's built that city. Big C, as in our final segment for today on Big C Sports, I hope that people can just realize it's okay to grow. It's okay to learn. It's okay to pray. It's okay to do whatever it takes to create equality and fairness for everybody. And when I look at the NBA and we talk about who are the top players in the NBA, everybody has their own choice. I love this thing you did when I asked you who would be your top 5 LA Lakers of all time. And LeBron James didn't even make your top 5. You talked about some players that a lot of people don't even know about, from Kareem to, of course, you have Magic and Chamberlain, but you brought in Jerry West too. I just Elgin Baylor. There's so much history. So when you look at today's times and you think who might be your top player, we look at Davis down in New Orleans, and of course there's Durant in Golden State. There'll always be talk of LeBron James. There's Giannis. There's Harden. A lot of people think, well, what about Kyrie Irving? And then I think a player that's so consistent, he's kind of overshadowed by a taller player on his team, Durant. Steph Curry, he's as consistent as fine wine, Big C. And you have other players throughout the league that are up and rising players that might be, whether it's a John Wall. I think these guys are just going to grow. Karl Anthony Towns. But give me your thought on the state of the NBA. We talk about the state of the NFL, how you have Tom Brady. It's really the Statue of Liberty for the NFL players, getting better as he gets older, it seems, not fading. What would you say would be right now the Statue of Liberty player for the NBA players coming in? Would it be some of the guys I mentioned? Your thoughts?
Well, Chocolate, I mean, the NBA has such a diaspora of players because you can't generalize them on a position. It's about what a team's needs are.
Yeah.
When you look at Kevin Durant, 40 years ago in the NBA, Kevin Durant would have been a center, Chocolate.
Yeah.
At 6'11".
Yeah.
Dirk Nowitzki would have been a center at 7 feet.
Yep.
These guys both play the 4 position, Charlton. The game has changed. LeBron James would have been a power forward, Charlton, in the game. Steph Curry would have been a pure point guard, not a shooting guard.
Yeah.
So it's about the fit of a team. You look at how James Harden easily gets off his shots, even though he takes 4 or 5 steps to get over.
That helps.
But, it's all about the fit. We talked about it just a moment ago in talking about football and looking for the next great coach.
Yeah.
They don't bring the players along with them.
Yeah.
Luke Walton got the job with the Los Angeles Lakers after going, I believe it was 42-3 as a coach while Steve Kerr was out, Charlton.
Yeah.
The only problem is the Golden State Warriors didn't go down I-5 in California to Los Angeles with it.
Yeah.
So Luke Walton is being challenged as a coach for having inferior talent.
Yeah.
And so that's what it comes down to. You look at the Philadelphia 76ers and you look at the nucleus of that team, Charlton, and say, wow, how can they not win?
Yeah.
But look at what Kawhi Leonard did to Toronto. Is he the most valuable player in the NBA, Charlton?
Wow.
He took a team that was the best record in the league last year and made it better and didn't even play that season, Charlton.
Wow. That's
so when you think about who do you call the most valuable player in the NBA, does Harden wanted to get a second consecutive MVP, the best player?
Wow.
Is Paul George the best player in the league because he's unseated Russell Westbrook as the best player in OKC, Charlton?
Good point.
Is LeBron James still the best player because without him, the Lakers are 4-7.
Yeah.
With him, they were 21-14.
Yeah. Well,
so you have to realistically look at each situation differently, Charlton, to see what's the best fit for an organization.
Yeah.
A month and a half ago, everybody was saying the Warriors were done. We've seen the last of the Warriors.
I remember that.
Did anybody call the Denver Nuggets last night?
No, I don't think so.
And tell them that the Warriors are coming into town?
No, they didn't tell them that
and don't take a nap on the first quarter because 51 points and 12 minutes later, the Denver Nuggets was like, damn, what just hit us?
And NBA record too, Big C. I told you, things get pretty high up in Denver. The altitude's kind of high, a little bit smoky up in Denver too. Sometimes they play a little bit too relaxed, but Golden State really showed up last night. And it's like they showed up and showed you what they do in the playoffs. We look at tonight's schedule. Golden State is at home. They're playing New Orleans. Other games around the league, Toronto and Boston. That game's in Boston. A big game in that. I know Toronto got out early in that game. Houston is at home versus Brooklyn. You have Milwaukee and Memphis playing down in Memphis. San Antonio playing at Dallas. Cleveland playing at Portland. You have Utah playing at the LA Clippers. And last night, they needed the Lakers needed that win, and they were able to get a win playing at home against Chicago. So that made Luke Walton's sleep a little bit easier for at least one more night. The highest scoring NBA teams, Big C, last night. Milwaukee Bucks 124 and the Pacers 131. The Hawks, we just talked about the city of Atlanta, 142. And they scored, that's a lot of points. You have the Warriors 142. Philadelphia scored 149. Are they saying you can't touch offensive players too, the way the NFL says you can't touch quarterbacks, Big C? And the Lakers coming in scoring 107 to get their 4th win in 11 games without King James. So we know you can't touch Harden because they'll call a foul if you breathe on them. Do we see that the trend that they just don't talk about it with other players too, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Jonathan, we've seen that trend in basketball completely, is that the scoring is up. You have to find a way to keep attracting fans, Jonathan. No one goes to an NBA game, Jonathan, to see a slow-down pace.
Right.
The three-point shot has changed the dynamics of the game, Charlton.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you within the next 5 years, the NBA will adapt a 4-point shot, Charlton, because they're trying to find ways and more ways, Charlton, to keep attracting and holding on to the fans that they have.
Yeah.
Fans become stagnant after a while. If you go back to the 70s in the NBA, Charlton, it was hard to find a packed arena.
Yeah, that's true.
And all of a sudden they brought along the three-point shot.
Yep.
It's like, they said, whoa, this is going to change the NBA.
Yeah.
The first player to make a three-point shot, Charlton, in the NBA was a guard named Phil Ford, playing for the Boston Celtics. And ironically, Charlton, he set the record for three-point shots that season made in the NBA.
Wow.
He made 76. 76 three-point shots, Charlton.
Wow.
That was the record in the first season that the NBA adapted that, Charlton, and everybody saw that the season would change.
Yeah.
Steph Curry has already made 150 of them this season, Charlton. Okay? He's already doubled Phil Ford's total from the inaugural season of the three-point shot in the NBA.
Yep.
And it's become such a weapon. The Golden State Warriors, Charlton, knocked down 23-point shots last night against those Denver Nuggets.
Yep.
That 60 points right there, Charlton, that changed the dynamics of any game.
Yep.
This is why the NBA over the next 5 seasons, Charlton, will adapt a 4-point shot.
Yeah, I think it's great though, Big C, and I just hope if the NFL and the NBA are truly America's two pastime sports. I know they used to say baseball, it's like apple pie, etc. But if you haven't had German chocolate cake, that's what the NBA is. The triple layer German chocolate cake that my mama makes. It tastes so good. And I remember I was talking to Mom just the other day, and I was saying, remember how we would always lick the bowl where they put that, she put that frosting on it, would have the coconut and the caramel and everything else, and put it on 3 layers of chocolate cake. But it was so good, we would go lick the bowl. And when Mama didn't like when we licked the bowl, she thought that was disrespectful to the silverware, Big C. But I thought that chocolate cake is what the NBA and the NFL can be. Yeah, baseball might be America's apple pie, but if you've ever had German chocolate cake, no POTUS, it doesn't come from Germany. That's just the name of it. It's a staple. A lot of black Americans love that cake. It's a beautiful cake, and I hope that more people can have that, especially me coming up over the next couple of days. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young man, rumble, Big C. What are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, we're getting to that time of sports where it's called the legal drug.
Yep.
Adrenaline.
Okay. Be careful.
And you think about the height of excitement that everybody has about this weekend coming up, Charlton, in professional sports.
Yep.
We got the NBA playing, Charlton, but everybody's going to get an adrenaline rush come Sunday.
Yeah.
When you're sitting down for the AFC and the NFC championship, Charlton.
Yeah.
This is what football is all about. I know we're going to get to the Super Bowl in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But the anticipation is building up for this championship round, Charlton. Everybody is sitting on the edge of their seat.
Everybody, just like when Mama made that German chocolate cake, she took it out the oven. Everybody was sitting on the edge of their seats, and you can sit on the edge of your seat too every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide when you follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.